I, Dr. Sister Candy Dikuna, Associate Professor of English, along with Reverend Father Dr. A. Francis Xavier S.J., Director and Secretary of Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology, feel happy and delighted to present our paper entitled Initiatives and Responses to Migrant Workers During the Lockdown. Before I present my paper, I would just like to read out this abstract. This narrative describes an initiative of National Service Scheme team at Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. It highlights initiatives to address the situation of migrant workers during the pandemic lockdown in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh, India. So when we are presenting this paper jointly, and the keywords chosen for this paper are migrant workers, because the entire focus of this paper is on migrant workers. And secondly, we have chosen the term Krishna district because this activity was carried out in Krishna district. And the next word lockdown because it was during the lockdown pandemic period. And the ways and means we took to carry out this activity was a relief camp, that is through NSS, a social service scheme team. And through NSS camp, we carried out this activity. So we have chosen the word relief camp. And the last one is experiential learning. Our students risked their life and they participated in this activity. And it was a kind of an experience for them. It was an experiential learning. COVID-19 has been heart-wrenching and agonizing for almost everyone. One of the most affected groups during this pandemic, which previously was invisible, but now this pandemic has made them visible, is none other than migrant workers. Coming to the Indian situation, I know that there are migrant workers all around the world, but from Indian perspective, when the nationwide lockdown was imposed on 24th March 2020, it came only with 4 hours notice, and almost the entire thing was disturbed. The public transit and work, both formal and informal, was shut down, and all of us were in entire confusion. We were asked to sit in the houses. And when government was forced to reverse course and lift some of the restriction, albeit in stages, these migrant workers, which were invisible, became suddenly invisible. And they started pouring out almost from everywhere. And everywhere we could see that they were really struggling. They were penniless, unable to afford food, rent without any work. And they were struggling to return to their native villages, hoping to survive. When I saw these images in the newspaper, I just couldn't believe. I saw the images of elderly men and women carrying their children on the shoulders, and small children slumped over rolling suitcases. And all these newspapers really made me disturbed. It made me to introspect and think of these migrant workers. And we could also see in the newspaper that these migrant workers were walking on the highways. Sometimes they were beaten, flogged by police. And some of them even succumbed to accidents, and they didn't find any means to travel. I started introspecting and decided to take an initiative and response. I couldn't do anything much because we were strictly asked to sit inside, to sit indoors. So one side, there was a reality unfolded before me of migrant workers. And on the other hand, I became aware of the situation to do something. One side, there were migrant workers. Another side, there was a constant warning to stay indoors. But I realized, truth to be told, that I wanted to do something, though I was unprepared and paralyzed. But I didn't know what to do. So I have adopted a few villages. And with a little amount, I rendered a little service to some 20 villagers in that village. And then suddenly I could see that Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology had taken an initiative to do something for the migrant workers under the benign guidance of our Reverend Father Director A. Francis Xavier. So he had meticulously planned along with the NSS team, and I responded against the backdrop of my institution. So Krishna district, our college is situated in Krishna district. It is named after a mighty river Krishna, and it is central among coastal districts and one of the oldest British administered areas of the state of Andhra Pradesh in southern India. According to the census, its population is 45 lakhs 17,398 people spread over 934 villages. Half of the population of Krishna district is in rural setting, but engages in menial jobs in the surrounding towns and urban areas. Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology is located in Krishna district. It's a Jesuit institution, and it has a history of involvement in social justice and good citizenship building initiatives for marginalized communities in the city and beyond. This is an international organization, and almost in every part of almost everywhere we have Loyola institutes, almost in the entire world. And I feel privileged to be in this great institution. And the vision of the college is to form men and women for others. I am in the Department of English at Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology in Vijayawada, a city in Krishna district. This city is the commercial, political, educational, and media capital of Andhra Pradesh. We have a very vibrant and active NSS programs at ALIET. So ALIET is a short form of Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. So to enable students to participate in national building through social service activities, the government in 1969 has introduced this national service scheme. This scheme enables students to prepare themselves for the real life social activities, aiming to make them conscientious, compassionate, and responsible citizens. So our college has a vibrant NSS programs. A few to mention: we conducted blood donation camp, International Yoga Day, Vana Mahotsav Week, which means planting trees, tribute to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man of India, essay writing competitions on Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation, Independence Day celebration, Children's Day, flood relief camp, rally on plastic waste free camp, energy transformation, and lot many village programs. So the list goes endless. These are only few mentioned over here. So this team very vibrantly, actively decided to do something for the migrant workers with the guidance of our director, Father Francis Xavier. So in the midst of lockdown, the team came quickly, we came together, planned for the outreach relief camp for the migrant workers. And we thought of a village named Satyanarayanapuram, which is just located 3 kilometers away from our college, ALIET, because there are many migrant workers over there. So it was chosen since many villagers were migrant and the lockdown had affected in multiple ways. And this relief camp took place in month of April. So it is, when the temperature in southern India soars up really. Even now the temperature is very high. So it took last year during, in the month of April. And the team, we came together and we were 10 of us in the team, 2 NSS coordinators, 2 professors, 5 students, the driver and the director. So all of us came together and we started, planning what exactly to be done. So when I look at the entire thing, this program of NSS, I feel that my first day was remarkable and adventurous. On the very day, I did not know what to expect. I just remember that we gathered early in the morning and we began food preparation, and several food items were prepared. We were combined into single food packets. And when we were working hand in hand, There was no distinction between staff and students. All of us were working together. It was a very joyful and very vibrant activity. We took it as an initiative without getting fear of this pandemic or people saying don't go out. So it was a great initiative, we could say, to organize this activity. So as Mother Teresa says, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. On 6th May 2020, nearly 250 migrant workers were fed. So we gave them midday meals, we provided rice, curry, water, fruits, etc. And they were very happy with the wholesome meal they enjoyed. The second day, to quote again Mother Teresa, let us touch the dying, the poor, the lonely, and the unwanted, according to the graces we have received. And let us not be ashamed or slow to do the humble works. So second day also was very beautifully planned, and 230 migrant workers were fed with rice, curry, egg, water, fruit, etc. So it was also a very beautiful experience. Even students felt that it was really a learning experience for them, apart from their academics. And third day, to quote in David O. McKay's quotation, let us realize that the privilege to work is a gift. The power to work is a blessing. The love to work is success. So love gives the best. And again, on the third day, we saw nearly 230 migrant workers were fed from the nearby village and also the other areas on the streets and all. So rice, curry, egg, water, and fruits were given to the migrant workers. Coming to the fourth day, Mother Teresa once again reminds, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. And again, 250 migrant workers were fed, and some of them expressed their gratitude to us. They were very happy. They were really feeling at ease receiving food from our institution. And on the fifth day, once again to quote Teresa, intense love does not measure, it gives, it just gives. So on the fifth day also, 250 migrant workers were provided rice, curry, egg, water, fruits, etc. And coming to the sixth day, let me begin with the quotation of Mahatma Gandhi. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So once again, I say, love gives the best. So we also experienced nearly that happiness and joy, feeding 250 migrant workers, providing rice, curry, egg, water, fruits, etc. And on the last day, to quote Pope Francis, love is always at the service of others because love is seen in action and not in words. So action speaks louder than words. And on the seventh day also, we saw a very good response. Nearly 250 migrant workers were once again provided rice, curry, egg, water, fruits, etc. So it was a 1-week program conducted, taken up by NSS unit of Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. And we felt very happy when we did this activity. And some of the students, after finishing the activity, commented. They saw their education from a different perspective, one that is integrated curriculum and good citizenship for marginalized persons. One of the ways of infusing relevance into education is to embed it with meaningful service learning. And that's why we have chosen the word experiential learning. And almost in all our branches, engineering branches, we have this activity, NSS activity or some kind of social activity carried out very vibrantly. So we have some 8 engineering subjects, 8 engineering programs, and then almost computer science, electronical and communication engineering, then electrical and electronic engineering, and then mechanical engineering. All these groups very actively and dynamically carry out these activities for the poor and the needy. Expansion of locations and reactions from villages. So what was their reaction? So each day we met, we came together as a group, we had to evaluate, we had to plan, we had to strategize. Of course, our director, Reverend Father Dr. A. Francis Xavier, was guiding us. He was telling us what to do. And then each day our activity was progressing. And as the month progressed, we moved beyond the initial village and we reached out to 3 other districts. And then we started reaching out to other villages and some more migrant workers. And then we could find that some were unemployed, hungry. And then, we helped them how to come out of their situation and their life. After the completion of the program, some of the migrant workers have given their testimonials. And here I have just recorded this too. A 50-year-old migrant worker from the northern state of Gujarat, he openly expressed his joy and happiness. And he said that this 4 weeks of receiving food, because this migrant worker was also present in other places, he said that he got 4 weeks food in his difficult times. And then the other 46-year-old physically challenged person who was also there in the group expressed his gratitude to the institution for helping him receive food every day. And these are the testimonials of our students. So one of our students, her name is Akhila Uma. She's studying 4th year computer science at Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. She has expressed during the lockdown period, working with NSS team gave her not only happiness and contentment. She said that the generosity of the college showed towards the migrant workers and the beggars on the street made a profound impact on her way of thinking. And she has decided to render much more service in the days to come. Another student, Sai Teja, he also expressed his love and gratitude towards the institution. And he said that it was an amazing experience for him to join hands with Elliot and to reach out to the needy. He was overwhelmed with the lead taken by NSS team of Elliot under the benign guidance of our director and secretary, Reverend Father Dr. A. Francis Xavier, SJ. And he expressed that the food distribution program was something very uniquely organized, and he could see a ray of hope and joy bubbling on the faces of the migrant workers. Another student, Ravi Chaudhary, studying 4th year electrical communication engineering at Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. He said that it was indeed a joy to be a part of Loyola family. And then his heart was moved with compassion, seeing the beautiful gesture taken by the institution. And he experienced that this food distribution during the lockdown period has cast an indelible print on his mind. And he was very grateful to the management for the magnanimous gesture and service. So other initiatives. So we didn't stop there with this 1 week or the other programs which we organized in other villages for a month or so. But we reached out to nearly many other migrants, and we took many other initiatives because there are nearly 600 million internal migrants in India, and their situation is complex. And as the Indian economy during the spring was down by 24%, the ones most affected were the informal labor sector, which comprised mostly of migrant workers. So as the number of COVID cases were increasing, so we decided to do something to reach out even to the academic audience, because it is not simply sitting in our institution and we reaching out. We also need to inspire others. So what we did is we had taken another initiative to conduct an international conference on the topic entitled Socio-economic and Traumatic Challenges Impacting Migrant Workers. So conference was organized given the backdrop of Elliot and the versatility of Zoom. We reached the wider audience, and then we invited 2 professors, one from US and another from Tata Institute, Mumbai. And those 2 professors wonderfully shared their experiences, and they motivated the academic community, some of the professors, teachers, students, all those who were there. Nearly 1,000 participants were there on Zoom. So this was a very successful conference, international conference, and many of the participants were inspired to do something for the migrant workers. And these speakers particularly focused also on female migrant workers that, you know, they are not seen so much and their discourses are unheard. So they also asked us to do something for female migrant workers. So at the end of the relief camp, once again, coming to our institution, we adopted a village named Raipalle. And this village is near Machilipatnam. And this village was badly affected by tsunami. So what we did in the initial stages, our college, Father Francis, along with the NSS team, went there, saw the situation, gathered some women folk, motivated them, gave them loans with 50% subsidies, and organized them into self-help groups for their economic empowerment and upliftment. And we could see wonderfully well in the later stages, the members of this self-help group had become self-reliant. They started earning their own income by engaging into small jobs like animal husbandry, tailoring, gold covering works, and etc. And this particular program is running successfully. So before I could conclude, just let me once again express that this program, this activity where I participated was for very short time. It was a 1-week program, but it was really heart-rending. It opened my inner eyes. It made me to realize that it is also important to do something for the needy, because these migrants were affected people. This pandemic did not make them visible. They were one of the most affected people in this pandemic. And then I was very happy and I was very grateful that college had given me a platform to voice out my feelings and my expressions for the poor and needy. So COVID-19 has highlighted not only our shortcomings, but it has also made us to realize that we need to do something for migrants, because we have not only failed migrants, but we have failed to do something for the migrant workers. So before I conclude with this quotation, may I request the second speaker, Father Francis, if he would like to add up something to my lecture.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think Sister Carrie Dukuna has succinctly put whatever has been done by the institution. And right in the beginning, we were not ready because we didn't know what it was about. COVID-19, we didn't know what it was about. And we plunged into that almost blindfolded. But this time, of course, we are much more prepared because we know what it is like. Right in the beginning, when we began, we didn't know what we were entering into. But still, all of us joined together, put our possibilities, and then we could help the migrant workers. And today, we are quite satisfied because we were at the service of the ones who needed real help. With these words, I thank the organizers of this conference, and I hope that we will continue to render service because we've been encouraged by this type of programs given to us. Thank you very much.
So to conclude, if Heraclitus highlights change is a constant, I and we too still need to change to make the contributions of migrants to the economy visible and the plights of the migrants, particular female migrants, a greater focus of attention. So with your permission, I would like to show 3 slides of images because I think that my presentation will not be completed. So see, this was what we did. Of course, it is there on the YouTube in the video, but just to quickly show you. And this is what we gave to the nearby villages. And this is the other slide. This is our NSS team. And this is a self-help group. We had given 50% subsidies to start animal husbandry and small shops and etc. And today they have become self-reliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask us.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you to both our speakers. That was quite impressive presentation, as it was full of humanitarian activities. And what I noticed is that it was that by working in a team, you actually promoted community-based activities, and that helped a lot in your old project that you presented. If there are any questions, commentaries, idea that our participants would like to share with you, please feel free to address them now. And I understand that Professor Antonio Sandu would like to share some ideas with us.
Hello, I'm Antonio Sandu.
Yes, hello.
Professor PhD in Suceava University and leader of Lumen Publishing Group. And just a few comments on this wonderful lecture on compassion and humanitarian added as spiritual practice and humanitarian and social work in a way. It's wonderful to hear about how this humanitarian practice could be done even in lockdown. And because now I think India is still in lockdown, or part of India.
Yes, we are in lockdown still.
Yes, and just how I just want to say how important it is to remain human, even if just a small virus shut down our activities. And it's a very important lesson that you, your colleagues and your supervisor and so on, give to all world this lesson about to be human with the own kinds, own religions, people, and also the people from other religions. I understand good. Please comment on this situation, on how to overcome the border of religion to help people with no matter about religion, and maybe other problems, race and so on. Please.
Well, India is supposed to be the cradle of great religions. You have mixture of people, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and so on and so forth. So when we started helping them, there was no distinction whatever, absolutely. Whoever came, for example, they were the people we were looking for. We are looking for people who are in need of help. That's how we started helping. There was no distinction whatever, absolutely, in our minds or in our approach.
Thank you, thank you. It's amazing.
I'm wondering, actually, as media shows, India indeed is overwhelmed by the effects of coronavirus infections. Could you please give a feedback on how did you actually manage to cope with this situation and organize your team? Because, as you said, you went farther than within your small community. You go farther and help other communities around yours. How did you manage to do that? We are interested in understanding like your personal and institutional experiences, because your experiences could be examples of good practice in nowadays challenging public health context, you know? This is what we actually consider when we, within our publishing house, we made call for papers for papers that addresses exactly the COVID-19 pandemic effects at educational level, at social, cultural, economical level. And your example comes to show that there are practices that can improve the social condition of humans. How did you manage it?
To say a few words, right in the beginning when we began our work, we just did not know where we were plunging into, because it was the first time we're talking about Corona, the pandemic. We didn't know. And then, of course, we had to get permission from the government, from the collector. Otherwise, we were not allowed to go out at all during the lockdown. Still, we got permission, and of course, we did this work. However, as we proceeded, when we went to villages, we realized that it is not only during this pandemic, for example, that we need to help people, but we also need to rather prolong our helping hand to those people who require a help for a longer time. And that's why we came into contact with a particular village called Raipali, which was mentioned by Sister Candy. And even today, for example, we are rendering service and they are able to improve their economic situation because we are able to continue our help to them. Therefore, it was not only at the time of the pandemic that we are helping them, but we have gone beyond that. And that is one lesson we have learned because of this pandemic help.
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. I understand that from the feedback also given by the students involved in your project, which implied this experiential learning, contributed to the enlarging of your programs because they give you the exact opinion that help you continue your initiative.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. That's great.
I have also planned to do something in the future for the poor and needy. I have adopted 5 villages, and then I feel that the institution which I'm working right now is serving as a platform for me for these kind of activities, because all what I'm seeing is a reality in front of my eyes. So NSS team is there, and then there are very good motivators. Our father is very dynamic, very active. He thinks very broadly about the poor and needy, and then he conducts this kind of programs. So it is a kind of an inspiration for me. It is kind of a learning experience for me. It is also a kind of time to equip myself for the better future. So I am also trying to do, planning to do something for the poor in the days to come. So this program really helped me a lot from my personal viewpoint.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation again. Thank you to Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology from Andhra Pradesh, India, for organizing this lecture. Thank you all for your participation, and we kindly invite you to the next sessions to participate, to enjoy this Congress.